Welcome to another edition of Dianne Andrews in Black and White, an open discussion about the issues you don't want to talk about and the arts you need to know. Now, here's your host, Dianne Andrews.
Welcome and thank you to In Black and White. I'm your host, Dianne Andrews. I want to tell you how much I appreciate the YouTube audience out there for your tremendous response on our last shows. I also want to thank the people out there in TV land who I always tell you, I know you look just like I do. I called them 5-inch heels last time, but they're really 4 1/4, okay? And now I want to really thank the people that are here in our audience today. I appreciate you for taking the time to be here. Under some of your chairs, you will find something like this, which is a glow stick. We want to shine a light from this program, and I want you to take the glow stick, and whenever you're in the dark, whether that is in your own internal darkness or in a dark room, take this and know that there's a light at the end of every tunnel, no matter what it is. My guest today is coming to us from the Kiwanis Club. Her name is Lillian Grosley. She is a vice president with Citizens Bank, but she takes her time to donate to the Kiwanis, and this year they're doing an international and global initiative on maternal prenatal tetanus. Tell us about that, Lillian.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for allowing me to come on the show today. Kiwanis has launched an international initiative in partnership with UNICEF to eliminate maternal neonatal tetanus from the 25 remaining countries that it is existing in. It's a disease that is a horrible disease that if a baby is born with tetanus, it typically will die 3 to 7 days after contracting tetanus.
So it's in the mother's womb that they contract it.
Yes, it's due to not being able to get a tetanus shot. Here in this country, we get them every day. Right. The cost is really $1.80, and so Kiwanis is initiating this initiative to raise $110 million. The 16 clubs in our district, 8A and 8B locally, have made a monetary commitment to help reach that goal. And to do that, we're launching and hosting a bowl-a-thon here on August 23rd at Circle Bowl from 2 to 4.
So if people want to contact you about the bowling-thon, Bowling for Babies, I think is the name of your...
Kiwanis Bowling for Babies, that's it.
Who would they call? Call the Kiwanis Club of South Baton Rouge?
They could call me actually on my cell. It's 225-202-0990. Or they can go to our Facebook page, Kiwanis Club of South Baton Rouge. Well, also YouTube has the Eliminate Project.
Okay. I think everyone will understand that this is a project that needs to be focused on in 25 countries. We have babies being born with tetanus. We don't even think about that unless we step on a rusty nail in the country of America. So let's support this project. And again, thank you, Lillian, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. Dianne Andrews in Black and White. We'll be right back.
I just bought my family a big old show truck.
He bought a big ugly truck.
It's got a quad cab, it's got a Hemi engine.
At least the dealer financed us through Federal Credit Union.
It's got 390 horses, 407 foot-pounds of torque. It could pull my boat, it can pull my Mardi Gras float.
And with this low-rate credit card, I got to have a little fun myself.
It's got it all.
Federal has it all.
Who knew?
Thank you and welcome back to In Black and White. Today I have a group that I'm very honored to have with me because we're going to tackle a very tough subject. And we're going to tackle it from cradle to grave, as I call it. The subject is bullying. A lot of people only think of bullying as being done by kids, you know, kids on the school bus, as Chris Rock was bullied when he was a little boy. He went from a ghetto environment bus to a school in Bensonhurst, and he was called all kind of names, including the N-word, and kicked. But that was the catalyst for him to do this series, Everyone Hates Chris. Also, Kristen Bell, another actor, who was 13 years old and was bullied after he did a very great movie. Then all the kids were jealous of him and they bullied him. But what it did to him, about 5 years ago, he was on his set and he was bullying everybody else. So it made him turn into a bully. People who understand bullying know that it is a control issue. You want to control your environment, control people. Some people do it for emotional reasons, and other people do it because of their nature or nurture, their environment at home. But today I have 3 great people, starting with someone who was bullied himself, Dr. David Greeson, and who is now a psychiatrist.
Hi.
Next on the panel, I have a guy who was a bad guy when he grew up. His mother had to take him from the country and send him to Baton Rouge to his father so he could go to Terre High because he was a little violent and he was physically and verbally abusive a little bit in high school and on in college, where he went to college in Lake Charles to Northwestern, and he has a degree in business management. Then he went on to Southern University and has a degree in business management and business administration between the 2 schools. So I have David Banguel, and he is an anti-bullying advocate. He found the Lord, and he became a guy who couldn't stand the things that he used to do. Next to him, I have Rebecca Briley, and I'm very happy to have her because she is the HR manager for formerly the Exxon Federal Credit Union, which is now Federal Credit Union. But what's so special about Rebecca? She sits on boards of national HR. She was the person of the year for the Society of Human Resource Managers. So that's quite an honor for Rebecca to have her here because she comes to us with a wealth of information on bullying. There are 3 types of bullying: children bullying, adult bullying, and cyberbullying. And we're going to take it, bullying from cradle to grave. I'm going to start with Dr. David Greeson. Dr. Greeson, tell me how it was growing up as a little boy and what happened to you.
Well, let's see, I went to a school here, Westminster, and I walked to school every day. And I guess I was a little different from the other kids, so they singled me out, and I got a lot of name calling, but there was at least one period of time in which a different kid met me on the block on the way home from school every day and would challenge me to get in a fight. And that went on for some time before my mom drove by and saw it happen.
But it was just one kid, not multiple kids?
No, I had different kids. It was a different one every day that would.
But didn't you take something into your own hands and get your grandfather to teach you how to box?
I did. I got my grandfather was I think he was a Golden Gloves boxer, and he taught my dad, and so I had them both kind of teach me how to fight. But I didn't tell them what was going on because I was worried about more retaliation. Because
you thought your mother would go out there and handle these boys, right? And tell the principal?
I thought if adults got involved, then they would come down on me even harder.
Well, Dr. Greeson, you are a psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. Child and adolescent psychiatry is your specialty, I think. Tell me, is that part of the reason, the bullying, is that part of the reason you did decide to go into that discipline of medicine?
There were a number of reasons, but that's one of them.
Okay. So that helped you become a better person so you could go help other people.
I do. I think it had a lot of negative effects at the time.
Tell us some.
I did not really enjoy school. Didn't want to go. Wanted to avoid that, and I think I know that it affected my mood and just general level of anxiety. Mm-hmm. But long term, I do think it made me a stronger person and somebody who's not really willing to accept defeat.
Yeah, Chris Rock says everybody should be bullied. If you can turn into a rich guy like him, I guess it made him a better person. He said that also.
But I don't think it affects everyone the same way. I think some people do wind up having their spirit broken.
Tell us about some of your clients in your practice.
The ones that seem to get bullied a lot are ones that have some learning disabilities or a speech impediment or some other thing that makes them not quite the same as the other kids. And generally speaking, I think that they suffer from it, and sometimes they act out as well, and it affects both their grades and their relationships at home, and it winds up being school winds up being kind of a hard place for them.
Now, a lot of bullying, as you said, you didn't really tell your parents in the beginning, and you didn't tell the teachers also because you were afraid of retaliation. So you're really suffering in silence is really what happens to a child that's being bullied. There's a friend of mine, he's an attorney here, and he's about 6'5". He told me that there was this timid little boy in his school, and you know they were always friendly. When he got injured and he was on crutches, this little boy would come up to him and do this to him and kept on doing that to him, and he'd tell him, stop, stop, stop. And the guy wouldn't stop. So he said finally he just took his crutch and knocked him out of the way because he was about 5'3", 5'4". But it shows that does everybody have the tendency to want to bully, or he had some insecurities within himself probably?
Well, you know, I think everybody has some aggressive drives, and everyone can get angry.
Yeah.
And it's just the way you manage those feelings that either makes you a bully or not.
It almost sounded like this guy was, like I said, football player, you know, good in school, had it all going on, 6'4" then, he's about 6'5" now. And so it sounds like this little guy always had it in for him because they used to speak and they were friendly, he thought. He was shocked. I was telling him I was doing a segment on bullying and he told me this story. I said, that's really amazing. So he thought he could conquer you because you were on crutches. But hey, the crutch could reach the span of where he was. Right. He said he knocked him out of the way. But let's talk a minute to a guy who was a bad guy. Daniel, now tell me, growing up, how did it feel at that time when you were talking to these children in a verbally abusive way and bullying them?
Well, how did it feel? I mean, I guess it felt good. Again, bullying is not then what it is now today. It wasn't a big issue then. It's just, you know, kids being kids. And I think that's what, you know, really made me do it that way, because we were just all around young adults, you know, teenagers, and we just made fun of folks. Right. You know, I had no idea that they had situations where folks would, you know, take that to extremes as far as killing themselves or feeling a certain way or making them insecure or anything like that. It was just something, you know, just playing at school. So, but at the time, it just felt good to do it. Because
your mother saw a problem, you know, a little bit when she sent you, and she wanted you to come stay with your father to get a male perspective, I'm sure.
Right. But it more so, you know, behavior problem and, you know, bullying kind of goes together. But I think that you know, having a male role model was a reason why I ultimately stopped, being that, you know, someone was there to enforce the fact that, you know, letting me know that, hey, this is wrong. So, yeah, I think that played into why I did ultimately stop.
And also, I believe you're a minister now, and did that help you finding God and realizing what that may hurt some people's feelings? You didn't want to do that anymore?
Well, no. Honestly, I decided to stop because of the fact that I grew up.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I grew up and I thought that that was actually hurting folks. Yeah. And as you know, as I grew up, my mom always had me in the church anyway. So I've already had some spiritual guidance throughout the life, but it was my choice to decide to mess with other kids and things of that nature. But as I got older and I saw that this problem had got bigger than what it was when I was growing up, I saw that there was a time to stop, and I thought that it was time to have outside influences to be positive, because there are some people that are affected by bullying.
And that's what you're doing now. So tell us about your anti-bullying advocacy.
Well, what I do is that I do a lot of keynote addresses because I can relate to those that were bullied, and it's kind of like you seeing the bully actually speaking to some of the victims. And it is a little weird because of the fact they are actually
anybody ever come up to you that you bullied and say, hey, you did that to me? Any grown people ever have done that to you?
Yeah, absolutely. They always say that, you know, but they like the fact that, you know, I've changed and turned into something else, and for a positive change. And like you said, you know, there are folks that have done things that have identified and want to come to a common ground and change those actions. And being an advocate, you know, I've seen folks that are children who were once like me, who were bullying folks, and let them know what it does to those folks.
Right.
Because you can indirectly and directly bully folks. And just because you don't physically bully them, you can indirectly bully them, such as teasing. You also online citing, cyberbullying.
Yeah.
You know, so this problem is bigger than what it was when I was growing up.
Right.
And I just want to bring awareness that this affects folks, even though you may not know that.
That's right. And that's going to take us into Rebecca. Rebecca is coming to us to talk about cyberbullying, adult bullying, workplace bullying, because those kids who bullied at 8, still bullying at 28, and still bullying at 58 if there's no help for those children. What have you all found on some of your national boards about bullying, Rebecca?
Well, what we have found on the national level, and of course state level and down to the region, is it is perceived that a childhood bully will continue bullying in their adulthood, which does in fact flow into the workforce. Right. In the workforce, you can single someone out, you can single a group out by one individual person who is considered a bully, and by doing so, it disrupts the entire organization. Right. It has a negative effect on the individual themselves.
Isn't about 50% of the people who are doing the bullying in the workplace managers themselves, the bosses, believe they have the right to bully people?
Exactly. 56%, according to the 2014 Workplace Bullying Institute, state that the bosses are the bullies.
So in your national boards, is there anyone or any company trying to come up with a strategy to train managers on not bullying?
Yes, there has been quite a bit of effort. In fact, on the federal level, anti-bullying bills have been presented to legislation, but of course they've been denied. But that doesn't give the employer the opportunity to continue the bullying efforts, because if they do allow it, there's other laws out there that protect the employee.
Well, Lady Gaga was bullied, and she has talked to President Obama about having bullying being illegal. She really wants it to be turned into a law against bullying. What are you seeing on the cyber? Because that is such a harmful. We see stories, us women who watch Lifetime, we see stories all the time about women, girls more so, who were bullied and on cyberspace, on the social media, which is the fastest growing part of bullying today.
That's right. Cyberbullying is the fastest growing form of bullying. And because of the digital technology we have this day and age, whether through Facebook, Twitter, emails, texting, it has grown in leaps and bounds. And the results of that is detrimental. It causes depression, it causes anxiety. In a workforce, it's low morale, turnover, which of course costs the company money, besides having an individual be as hurt as they are due to bullying.
That's right, and that really should be illegal. I agree with Lady Gaga. I can put you on Facebook that you're fat or you're ugly or you had sex with somebody, and hey, there you go. It's, you know, everything on the internet is true. We know that, right? Nothing on the internet is not true. So everybody believes what's put out there on the internet. And I don't know how you solve that problem. The social media is a big one that the government has to try to solve.
It does, and one other thing that I'd like to point out is with the anti-bullying, a lot of children and parents do not understand, but there are state regulations that will cause them to really disrupt their livelihood as they get older. Not only if you are found to be bullying someone, especially in a sexually explicit way, by posting pictures of them that they have no idea that they're being posted out there in the world, in cyber world, that, if convicted, they become sex offenders.
And they should be.
And they should be, yes. So we do know that the state of Louisiana, as well as other states, do have anti-bullying laws and policies, but that mainly is for the school systems.
You know, there's a movie called Indecent Proposal. We talked about this, Rebecca, from years ago, where Demi Moore and Michael Douglas were the two actors in it. And Demi was the boss. And she had dated him before, and she put pressure on him as a married man now to have sex with her, or she had him doing special kind of work, had him working late, being mean to him, threatening to fire him. We used to think of it as sexual harassment, but now it is turned over when it's consistent into bullying. Now, Dr. Greeson, I had you do a little study for me. Can you tell the audience the results of that?
Sure. We did an informal survey, and about 50% of people thought that bullying was a problem. Another 25% said maybe to that, and then there were about 12% that said that they didn't think it was a problem. Most of the people in the survey had
12% didn't think it was a problem at all in the world, in their life. I guess in their life.
Yeah, I guess in their life.
Yeah.
Or more of a problem in their world.
Right.
And let's see. Most of the people had been bullied. About 25% said they had done some bullying. Most of the people had, it was either by name calling or by physical kinds of actions. And that was pretty much the result of the study. And they dealt with it in different ways, by either ignoring it. Some people told an adult, but most were not satisfied with the methods that they used to handle it.
Did you tell them to go and knock them out like you used to, Dr. Greeson?
No, I really can't say. I can't really advise people to do that. And I'm not sure I really think the situation's different now in school. If you get into a fight now at school, you can be expelled pretty easily. So I think some of the things that that may work that didn't work when it was happening to me is to get other kids involved in that, because I think their awareness of it is a little bit better than it was back then. Daniel, I was going to ask you, do you think it seems to me that a lot of bullies kind of underestimate the effects of what they're doing. They tend to justify it, or they kind of downplay it. It's not that big a deal. Do you find that to be true?
Yes, absolutely. Any bully person that does it is going to downplay it. And the bottom line is, in school system, it's subjective calling. You have to really be trained to know what bullying is in order to identify it. And I think that that's one of the problems here in some of our school system, is that even though it's a law, is that because it's not identified properly, we don't know what it is. So, if someone hypothetically do the same repeated action over and over, they're considered a bully. Now, and that's to go as I lick my tongue over and over at you. The legislation says I'm bullying you. But so we have to really train the individuals to identify it first. But I think that the ultimate solution of stopping bullying is that the peers themselves are going to have to stand up and bring awareness to the situation. Because the bottom line is that parents, no matter what the situation is, they can only be there as support, because they're not in the environment where it's actually happening. So I think that once the peers are trained and being able to come against them themselves, that you will see a better result in ending bullying.
I'm sure that's something you're advocating out there. Rebecca, is there anything else you would like to tell us about the workplace part of bullying? Because I think 70% of the people who see it never report it, or a large number.
Exactly. You're 77% to be exact, according to the Institute, that people are bullied in the workplace. And surprisingly, it is that 77% is actually within the same gender.
Yeah.
Which is shocking.
Yeah, it is.
Which is shocking. Most women are bullied.
Yeah.
That's 60%.
And they bully other
They're
women.
the target, and they do bully other women. Yeah. And that's 68% that women bully other women. Another shocking result was that the Institute showed was the #1 ethnic group that is bullied is actually Asian at 33.3%, then African American at 33%, Hispanic at 32.5%.
And they're all very close to the numbers that I saw.
And white Caucasian at 24%.
Right.
But the best thing to do is, in the work environment, is of course policies, procedures, implement them, and train staff.
Well, I guess, thank you, Rebecca. I think that we can see bullying as a major problem in corporate America and also in our schools. So anyone who's seeing bullying, cyberbullying, needs to be reported, because that can be adjusted, and a lot of kids die from cyberbullying. So let's all work together and become anti-bulliers. Thank you very much for being here today.
Stay tuned. Dianne Andrews in Black and White. We'll be right back.
I just bought my family a big old show truck.
He bought a big ugly truck.
It's got a quad cab, it's got a Hemi engine.
At least the dealer financed us through eFederal Credit Union.
It's got 390 horses, 407 foot-pounds of torque. It could pull my boat, it can pull my Mardi Gras float.
And with this low-rate credit card, I got to have a little fun myself.
It's got it all.
eFederal has it all.
Who knew?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here today, and I know from your expressions today you've learned a lot. When we think about how wonderful it is to live in this country of America, of course there are a lot of things that go on here that we don't agree with, but there are a lot of things that we can help change. And we can help change the world by shining a light on tetanus, is what I wanted to do today. As we learned, babies die from this after 7 to 12 days old, and it is a horrible death. I ask you to support the Kiwanis group and go into their Bowling for Babies event that they're having. In life, there are a lot of things, again, that we don't understand, but in life also, we just have to try to make the world a better place and do the things we can. And that takes me to our bullying segment. We had 3 exceptional guests here today talking about bullying. We talked about children's bullying, which is the most well-known form of bullying, but we took it from cradle to grave. We talked about how that boy who was bullied then is that man who bullies, and that man who is an old man who may bully, or woman. We learned that women tend to bully women. Men tend to bully women and men. But women have it bad that we only want to bully each other. We talked about indecent proposal. I would suggest you go and rent that old tape with Demi Moore if you want to see how a boss can bully her employee when she wants to have him do it her way. In taking me to that, that reminds me of something I've lived by all my life, and that is to try to shine a light on various projects, to try to shine a light and try to help as much as I can. And I give everybody that challenge. We tend to get involved in our own worlds, and we forget about how great our worlds are. And we have it pretty good here in America for anyone who's ever traveled. I saw this as a little girl growing up in a small town called Montrouge, Louisiana. It came on TV on Sunday mornings. The guy said, as he lit this white candle, if everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this would be. And again, I challenge all of you all to go out and try to do what you can for your fellow man, to make your world and this world that we live in today a better place. I'm sure there are organizations you can join. I'm sure you can volunteer your time, and I'm sure that you can make a difference. And the only thing better than giving, than receiving, is to give. So let's go out here and give, because the most you can do is to give of yourself, and you've given everything you can. Thank you. Have a blessed day.